Welcome back to Cryptosrus. I'm George. We're all George. So, starting out a little bit late today, but that's because the US market doesn't have a bell today. It's closed. But regardless, I'm here to talk about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's next stop above where we are now, 130,000 and beyond. There's a lot of things to talk about. So let's get to it. All right, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting out this week at 109.9, right under 110. It's looking pretty good. It has been pretty good since last week, and it seems like we want to continue forward. So, absolutely fantastic. All right, like I said, today the U.S. market is closed. Today is Memorial Day for those of us in the U.S., so the stock market is closed, so we're not getting our usual price jump or volatility because there's no Wall Street buying up right now. However, those of you guys that watch my Sunday Walk video knows that, the U.S. is not in a good place right now, okay? The bond market is freaking out, and that's helping Bitcoin, but overall it's not helping what the U.S. needs to do, which is to cut spending and cut its deficit and borrow money in the meantime. And also in terms of the trade wars and these trade deals, right, doesn't seem like we're making a whole lot of progress. So last week Trump said he's going to slap 50% tariffs on goods from Europe, from the EU. Yesterday, he said he's going to delay it for a little bit. But overall, he's like, the ride's far from over. There still could be something in play. This temporary, ceasefire really is just to, try to get more time, I guess, to close the deal. But yeah, this also isn't helping things in the U.S. in terms of calming, markets and stuff like that. So that is still an ongoing thing in the U.S. and it's probably going to be like this for quite some time. And companies have come out with their quarterly meetings or reports saying, yeah, some are going to have to raise prices. Some are going to see a horrible quarter. Some are no longer forecasting because they don't know how the tariffs will be, right? So there's still a lot of uncertainty around it. However, in the U.S., now supposedly there's some kind of workaround for tariffs. It's a first sale rule where U.S. customs law allow importers to use the lower cost of a good to calculate duties. I'm wondering if this is going to get shut down soon. Supposedly, you get tariffs only on the price. You could set the tariff on the price of the first good being sold. So you could purposely sell the first good or item really low, right, to kind of offset things. But we will see. We will see. But anyways, with all that's going on in the U.S. and around the world, I'd like to remind you guys, all the irresponsible spending, the borrowing, the printing, and all that stuff, not just happening in the U.S. In case you need a breakdown, you should watch my Sunday Walk video last night. I think I explained it pretty well, why it's not good for our nation. But it is good for Bitcoin, though. It is causing more and more people to come into Bitcoin. So if you're looking at ETF inflows, they have been massive. Even on Friday, there was a little volatility, I guess. Some funds decided to sell, but not BlackRock, though. BlackRock continued to load up 430 million overall today. Still saw 211, 212 million. So it's nonstop. Hundreds of millions of dollars going into these ETFs, right? That adds up. There's only so much to go around. And all this buying, all this accumulation, all the DCAing from the long-term holders, you know what? Is just removing supply from circulation, and that is why Bitcoin is poised to go a lot higher. Because unlike any other investment out there, unlike any other commodity out there, there is a predetermined set supply. And nothing else is like that. You know, I forgot about this prediction, but in this article, it listed this. This is actually from ARK Invest, Kathy Wood's company. And they came out with this like last year or 2 years ago, giving their 2030 prediction. So obviously that's a cycle after this one. And they were looking at, you know, all the things we're talking about now, like nation states adding Bitcoin to their treasury. You have corporates, you know, obviously like strategies of the world. And then you got emerging markets, and you got institutional investment, which is obviously huge. And then you got digital gold, which basically people that want to buy a safe haven like gold, but it's digital, so it's Bitcoin. Anyways, you put it all together, the absolutely worst case, bear case scenario is $300,000 each Bitcoin by 2030. That's the absolutely worst case scenario in terms of ARK Invest, their minds, okay? Seeing how adoption is growing. The base, just like a normal scenario, they see Bitcoin being at 710,000 by 2030. And the best case scenario, they see Bitcoin at 1.5 million by 2030. So just think about that. In the absolute worst case scenario, in 5 years, Bitcoin will at least triple from here. Okay? In just a normal scenario, it's going to go up 7x from here. And in a best case scenario, you're talking about 15x from here. I mean, these are amazing numbers. But Bitcoin has to go above 1 million just to equal the market cap of gold. So even though 1.5 million sounds like it's crazy talk, there's no way, no matter how long we wait for Bitcoin to hit 1.5 million, it may seem like crazy talk, but it's the same way years ago when we talked about Bitcoin at 100,000. And if Bitcoin is truly becoming a competitor to gold and one day become an equal to gold, Bitcoin does have to be above $1 million to reach the same market cap. So it seems like that will never ever happen, but don't ever say never with Bitcoin, because it just continues forward, because there are so many people that are realizing how good it is and they're turning to it. Robert Kiyosaki has been a Bitcoin bull now for years, and he keeps making these posts telling people to go buy Bitcoin because of the scarcity factor. There's only so many around, and all these are being bought by so many, right? He was one of the biggest gold and silver bucks, and he still is, but he's recognized that Bitcoin, nothing even compares to Bitcoin, right? So all good things happening right now. And of course, Saylor is always proving why he's the ultimate bull. Decided to buy another 4,000 Bitcoin worth 427 million. And he's not going to stop. 580,000 Bitcoin, getting closer and closer to 600,000. The man will not stop, and so many others will not. Metaplanet will not. There's another company called Remix Point that's starting to load up. Bought another 7 million overall. Total purchase 84 million. They sound exactly like Metaplanet. Metaplanet started out buying just a few million. 2, 3, 5 million, 7 million. Now they're purchasing like 40, 50 million at a time. They're really starting to accelerate, and others are going to do the same thing. Seems like more and more companies are turning every single week. Here's another one, DDC Enterprise, a New York listed company, decided, hey, they are going to start buying. They just bought 21, but they want to amp up by 5,000, within the next 3 years. Again, just do the math. There's only so many out there, and all of this is being removed from circulation, right? So despite our little volatilities, like what we had this weekend, they are meaningless. You got to zoom out and realize, hey, we've been moving pretty darn good, and there's more gains. A lot more gains coming. A lot more. Here's something else, too. We got a lot of states that now have a Bitcoin reserve. Florida is actually proposing to eliminate capital gains tax on Bitcoin, XRP, and stocks. So I don't think they're the first state to propose this. I remember I covered a story about another state trying to do the same thing. Now this is picking up steam. If we do actually get some states that actually eliminate capital gains tax on Bitcoin, that would be absolutely huge. I don't know why they threw XRP in there. Of all they should just say all of crypto. Why just say Bitcoin, XRP? Yeah, so someone loves them. Anyways, so we got this coming up. We got someone like Grant Cardone and Cardano Capital. They're launching a real estate fund in Miami where it's like hundreds of, apartments plus $15 million worth of Bitcoin. It's because they even see the potential of Bitcoin going up. Grant's brother, Gary Cardone, seems to have moved into Bitcoin for a couple years now, but Grant himself has always been a real estate guy, but even he's involved with Bitcoin now and adding them to his funds that he sells to investors in Cardano Capital. See, everyone is turning to Bitcoin. Even the naysayers, the ones that don't believe, they're all starting to come. All right. Last few things. Let's look at some charts and metrics. This one is showing addresses that are holding over 1,000 Bitcoin is surging once again. And whenever you see something like that happen, it's usually a precursor to major price expansions. It makes a lot of sense. Wallets holding above 1,000 Bitcoin are obviously the super whales out there. And if they are coming in or adding to their existing stockpile, then of course, they're the ones that's actually going to move the needle, right? So that's happening right now. And in case you guys didn't know, we just had the second highest weekly close ever. Last week, we did it. And last week, Bitcoin, we saw, shot up and broke its all-time high. We just had the second highest close. And is that a precursor to big moves this week? I think this week is going to be like last week. I think we're going to slowly trend upwards. I think it's going to be a good week. I think just Wall Street today is close, but regardless, I think we're going to see some major moves. And also, here's the thing. We've been tracking the M2 money supply, right? There's like a 90-day pause between Bitcoin's movement and the M2 money supply. M2 money supply has been skyrocketing, okay? It has been going up for quite some time. So look at the yellow versus the orange. Orange is Bitcoin's movement. Look at yellow, which is the M2 money supply movement. And you could see we're right around the point where we should be making a big move, just like the M2 money supply 90 days ago. And we're following and tracking it. Where does that put us? The next stop is around $130,000. Now, we may correct from there because we always do. Whenever we hit a local top, we tend to stay there for a few months, and we may even correct down a little bit. But it all lines up. Our next stop, 130,000. A lot of charts are showing it, and then we may stay there until like September, October timeframe. And usually when October comes, that's when Bitcoin really starts rallying, almost like leading up to Sandra rally. And that could push from our 130 mark to, you know, the top. This one is predicting like 180s, but we could certainly break through that and go higher to 200, 250. Some are predicting even higher than that because of all the macro stuff that's happening. Right? And here's another one that shows that, yeah, you know, we are ready to go higher. There are so many, so many charts and metrics, the growing fundamentals, the stories, adoption. At this point, if you still don't believe, I don't know what is going to change your mind. Yeah. All right. That's pretty much it. Today's a light day. I did want to give you guys a preview of the new Cryptosrus.com website. A lot of you guys don't go to it because you don't need to because of these videos. But I do have a fancy new website programmed, and there's some useful tools on here. For example, this market snapshot. A lot of you guys look at the greed and fear index, and right now we are in greed mode. Number 69. You got a couple price feeds and a watch list in case some of you guys need some ideas on which ones to watch. You know, got some tools for you guys, videos. Got a lot of stuff happening here. And then soon, a lot of you guys always wanted to look at my DCA portfolio. So that's going to be part of the new page, market snapshot page. That's going to have a lot more watch lists, a lot more useful things. And then my DCA portfolio in there, so then you guys will be able to track it all the time without waiting for me to showcase it. Just to let you guys know, Cryptosrus.com. All right, that is it. Let's see. Let's do some Q&A. Tomorrow's also the start of the Bitcoin conference. So that's going to be big too. I don't know if it's going to be a catalyst to drive things forward. I think this year, Bitcoin conference could be a catalyst. In the previous years, during crypto winter, you didn't see really anything happen during Bitcoin conference. Other than, I think Trump's announcement last year did something. Do you see BTC being used in escrow process with real estate? Tyler, yes. I think Bitcoin is going to get deeply involved with real estate in some big ways. Not even Bitcoin itself, just blockchain in general. Right? But Bitcoin itself definitely could be used for like earnest money, could be used to pay rent, could be used to buy real estate, but also like titles, for example, could be just stored on a blockchain. All these important documents, right? Anything that we don't want to ever lose should be stored on the blockchain so it stays there forever. So I think real estate will adapt. Robbie's asking, am I a whole coiner? Yes, I've been a whole coiner for quite some time. Thoughts on Knicks Pacers? I didn't actually watch yesterday's game, but I heard the Knicks won, so that's good, and mostly because of Cat. Cat had a big fourth quarter. It would have been embarrassing if they lost. Thera says, buying Yearn Finance, too poor for Bitcoin. You're never too poor for Bitcoin. And have you looked at the price movement between Yearn versus Bitcoin? If you did, you'll probably realize that Bitcoin has outperformed Yearn by a long shot since its last high in 2021. So don't discount Bitcoin. Even fractional Bitcoin, even, Bitcoin has a 2x from here, 3x from here. It may seem like it's not enough, but 2x, 3x may be better than something that gives you less than that. Most alts this cycle have not performed well, have not come anywhere close to their previous high in 2021. So if you're all in on alts, you may want to rethink that. Yasleen says, if you're a whole coiner, would you take profits at all-time high? No. I don't believe so, that we're anywhere close to the top. But it doesn't matter if you're asking if you should just take profits overall. You should take it if you have no money on the side. If you don't have any money on the side for DCAing or for buying the dips, then you should take profits out. You should always find a way or supplement that with something like, a side hustle or something like that. Reza, do you not think Bitcoin could hold now and let alts catch up? Not at this point, no, Reza. Maybe if we hit the next mark at 130. Right now, Bitcoin is in an uptrend. When Bitcoin is an uptrend, Bitcoin dominance continues to go up. I mean, look at where we are right now. Bitcoin is nearing back our all-time high at 111, 112. We're very close. But again, you look at the alts, ETH, Sol, SUI, XRP, ADA, AVAX, they're not even close to where they were just even a week ago. Alts just seem like they keep on getting weaker right now. And Bitcoin keeps getting stronger. Bitcoin is going to be bought up by all the big boys with their whale monies. And they keep on getting more and more, or more and more are entering and buying up. Retail is so finicky right now. Retail, anytime there's a little dip, they sell off, and that's why alts are just not holding well. Genius Act going finally pass? I hope so. I don't know. Genius Act is just, sets favorable regulations for stable coins. I don't really know what it has to do with Bitcoin and crypto overall. It may just clearly define what's a security, what's not. Stablecoin Act is supposed to be better for chains that are launching stable coins. But overall, it puts us in a better position. Like Europe has their MiCA, I think, regulations, which involve stable coins. but the Genius Act is a little bit different. Asia didn't have a good day. Europe had a good day today. Yeah, Trump paused the EU tariffs to 50%, but still temporary. Sol is about to upgrade in coming days. That's good. I started playing Expedition 33. I've never heard that. Not a big gamer anymore. Victor, I bought Cosmos ecosystems like ATM, AKT, injective osmosis because I believe in IBC. Should I hold and convert them to blue chips? I can't tell you what to do, but I will say that the IBC ecosystem overall have not caught fire, I guess, or momentum this cycle. Now, a lot of it could be because alts this cycle hasn't been hot, or not that hot. And some are moving away because they're realizing that Cosmos, like Cosmowasm, is just not the right development base or code, so they're moving away. Like, say, for example, out of Cosmos is trying to become EVM. So you have to decide. Obviously, in a bull market, all these Cosmos-based, ecosystem L1s or DEXs or whatever can get hot again. But right now, just seems like the momentum has swung towards chains that are, I don't know, that are not Cosmowasm or Cosmowasm, chains. I think this cycle, like especially the projects that will get their own ETFs are going to be huge because they're going to have that like momentum, right? Wall Street is going dumping a lot of money into them. So someone like XRP and Sol and others that get it will benefit greatly. Like multi-chain is inevitable, but you're right. But they've been multi-chain with others within the same ecosystem. What people really want is that interoperability with EVM, with Solana, with other ecosystems. right? So interoperability between, like, say, Injective and Say and Osmosis really hasn't benefited them at all. And it really hasn't benefited Cosmos itself as a base chain. They have seen no effect at all. That's the problem. Thoughts on Plum and Ondo? Which one is the right choice? I never heard of Plum. Ondo is a good one for sure. If I looked at or no. Have I looked at Hyperliquid? Yeah. It's just it's a big DEX that looks like a SEX. The tokens are too hyped up. Lives up to the name. Too hyped up, and not on a lot of exchanges. So I'm neutral on Hyperliquid. Plus, I don't use it. All right, guys. I'm going to conclude and get ready. All right, guys. So today the U.S. market is closed, but Bitcoin never closes, and there's still so much goodness happening. So stay strong, my friends. Let's see what happens for the rest of this week. I think it's going to be a good week. That 130 stop may be next. We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Smash it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, guys. Take care.